Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of D-List Diaries. It is me and Chris. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's been a while since I've been on here, but looking forward to doing another one.
It is actually our anniversary today, our 2.5 year anniversary on the 25th. So we thought we'd do a fun little episode for you guys.
It's crazy. 2.5 years already, but what a 2.5 years it's been.
Yeah. And this is just for today. Chris is just a special guest because we weren't actually going to do an episode at all this week, but I figured it's our anniversary, so why not give the people a little mail action?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be nice to kind of just connect on everything marriage, what we learned so far. Like it's been kind of crazy. It's been a big adjustment overall, but a good adjustment. Just looking forward to talking about
Because you love talking.
it. I do love talking.
You do. But now that you've said that, what do you think is your biggest learning lesson from marriage?
My biggest learning lesson would probably be that I can't be as lazy as sometimes I like to be
Hmm.
because I have to account for another person, dogs, and everything else. Just on my certain days, like I like to have lazy Sundays and things like that. And you can still have them, but there are things that need to be done around the house. And it's important to see those things, take the initiative. I think I've lacked that in the beginning, but I think I've gotten better at it.
Yeah, I would agree. And to that point, I feel like one of my biggest learning lessons is to ask for help because I am not very good at that. And I always want people, but especially you, we're talking about our marriage. I always want you to offer, but you don't know if I need help if I don't ask for it. So I feel like I've been working on having to ask for help and accepting the help that's offered because sometimes my pride kicks in and I don't want to accept help, but we're a married couple, so it's okay to help each other. And that's something, definitely a takeaway and a learning or something I'm still learning to do.
Well, yeah, and I think communication has been a big thing. Just sitting back, listening to the person, processing it, and then saying how you perceived it. I wasn't too good at that in the beginning, but I think I've done a better job of like letting you kind of tell me how you're feeling, what's going on, and then telling you how I'm perceiving it. So it doesn't lead into any sort of like big argument or anything like that. Cause I think a lot of it is just I'm thinking you're saying it a certain way when
Right.
you're not, or vice versa. And so being able to talk about that stuff and make sure we're on the same page saves a lot of kind of unnecessary little tiffs and arguments and things like that.
Yeah. And listening to listen and not just listening to respond. I know you and I have worked on that a lot since the beginning, where, like you said, we would just listen and hear it how we heard it and not necessarily how the other person was intending it. So I feel like now we both listen. And if we don't like the way the other person says something, we're very good about, okay, this is what I'm hearing. Is that what you're meaning to say? Because if it is, screw you. And if it isn't, I'm glad we checked. So I think we're really good about that.
I think at the beginning of our marriage, it did lead to some frustration
Oh,
because
for
we
sure.
weren't communicating that way. And then you would get upset about something, or I would get upset about something. And then when we would actually finally get to the point and kind of get back to it, we realized, oh, you weren't intending that the way that I thought. So that could have just saved us this whole kind of back and forth.
Plus, I feel like because we did get married on a show, we were almost forced into those conversations. And then when we were left to our own devices, we didn't want to feel like we were back on the show, but we kind of let go of what we learned. So I think that intermission period, or not intermission, but in between filming ending and maybe a year into our marriage, we were a little rocky with the communication, but I feel like we're rock solid now, babe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think things have been good. I mean, even just this morning, you came downstairs and I was doing the dishes. So it's like seeing that it needs to be done. Because in the past, I know there's been instances where you're like, oh, garbage is full. I'm like, yeah, I noticed that, but I didn't take it out. And now it's kind of like when you do see that, just taking that initiative and taking care of it. Or at the same time, though, when I say I'm going to do something, you have to trust that I'll do it and just leave it
Yes.
alone
We're working on it. We're
versus
working on it.
versus just taking that initiative in the moment to do it. Because then it's like, oh, well, I had to take out the garbage even though I asked you to. It's like, well, you kind of didn't fully give me the chance to do it.
Right. I have to understand that because I want something done in that moment, I can't ask you to do it or expect you to do it in that moment as well. So either I do it or I don't say anything, but we're working on it. We're not perfect, but I think every day we get a little better. And
Yeah, I'd agree.
as long as we're growing, I mean, 2.5 years is a long time in general, especially when you marry a stranger, but in the grand scheme of life, we could be together like 50 years. So 2.5 years is just a little drop in the bucket.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be turning 40 this year.
40.
Not looking forward to that because, well, I don't know. It's just an age. I don't feel 40, we'll put it that way. But
You don't act it.
metabolism and everything else definitely does slow down as you get older. And I can't eat like I used to, even though I want to.
Isn't that the sad thing? Now we have the freedom and the money to eat whatever we want, but our bodies are like, one too many Taco Bells.
I mean, still get every now and then, but I think we're doing a better job. I think the big thing is just motivating each other because if I don't have anybody else motivating me at times, I may kind of succumb to those vices. And I'm sure the same is for you. But
You say that like you don't know me. Like, of course, when I'm left alone, I'm like,
well,
I don't need to do anything.
I mean, I do travel a lot, so I don't know necessarily if you're following our diets and stuff like that when I'm traveling. Because I know sometimes I don't, but I'm trying to make better choices.
Well, I definitely get a little more lax when you're not home because I'm like, it's just me. I was so single for so long, and I think I forgot how to be single because I'm like, how do you cook for one?
Yeah.
But I know I used to do it. So I'm like, we'll order in, or I'll just make something that's really quick that the dogs will like because they're my friends when you're gone.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I know they're in good hands. I know the dogs are very much taken care of when I'm gone. Doggy's quiet. Quiet on stage one.
Before we get to some fun stuff, I would like to share with you, and hopefully you'll like to share with me, but your mouth, your choice. I would like to share things I admire about you and things I've learned from you in this marriage because words of affirmation, right? The thing I admire the most about you that I did not think was a positive when we first met is that you are always so willing to say yes to things. And I always thought that that was a people pleasing thing. But now I know it's just you being open to wanting to experience new things or do something with someone. I keep saying someone like we're not talking about the two of us, but I guess I'm just so used to podcasting for the people. But I feel like anytime I suggest something, you're like, yeah, okay, sure. And I used to, like I said, think that you were just appeasing me. But now I know it's just because you want to do things with me or make me happy or why not? And when you do say no, I know it's a firm no. Like you really don't want to do something. So I take that as like, okay, got it. He doesn't want to do it. Move on. So I really admire that you're just down to clown all the time.
Honestly, I think it's very important to take interest in your significant other's interests. So obviously, I like that you're always down when I buy tickets to just random events, sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, whatever it may be. You're always willing to do those things. And even when I said like date nights, but yeah, I just think it's important to take interest in that stuff. But there are certain things like, yeah, if I say no, it's like, no, I definitely don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid to say no to those things. But generally, the other things, I'm like, yeah, it could be fun. I don't know. I'm down to see what it's about. It's just good to just partake in that. Like, I want your passions to be my passions. I know you love to read every night. I don't, but that's why I watch like a movie or something while you're reading your book.
But I love that because we still get to spend time together, but you get to do something you like to do and I get to do something I like to do. But, I love to say no. If I don't want to do something, it's very hard to change my mind. So I admire that you're such a yes guy.
One of the things I admire about you is just kind of your tenacity. Like,
Ooh.
and also like, I realize that you're a busybody. You always have to be doing something. So
Busybody could mean always in everyone's business. So,
well, I mean, you always have to be doing something and you can't just kind of sit there. You need to be doing something to keep yourself busy, especially if your mind is on other things. That's how you cope with things and kind of work through things, I've noticed. So,
that's the ADHD.
for example, we don't have many arguments, but we've had some in the past where I've noticed you're cleaning dishes and doing that as we're doing it. And I'm more sitting there attentively talking to you and listening to you. And then you may bring up like, well, you're not helping right now. I'm like, yeah, but that's because I'm putting all my attention on you to make sure that we get through this and we communicate thoroughly through it. And your way of coping with it is actually doing things to keep them busy. So that's a little bit of a difference between me and you is that I more want to put my full attention to it, whereas I feel like you need to be kind of focused on doing other things and multitasking in that moment. I could be wrong, but that's what I've observed.
Well, I spoke about that little argument you're talking about on the podcast a few weeks ago. So if you're really keeping up with the episodes, you would know that I said that you were right. And it was like a little take back, or I was taken aback in that moment that you had observed that, I was like, damn, he got me on this one. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly my ADHD, but I feel like there's always so many things that can be done around the house or in life or just to better myself. So I'm always trying to do everything. And sometimes I feel like I could just relax, but it's hard. You're so good at it.
No, I mean, you've noticed I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders and
I
fans of
know.
it.
But why is that something? And I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm genuinely curious why that's something you admire about me when I take that quality as something that I need to work on being better at doing less of.
Well, because it's in that moment, like you need to do what's going to help you get through that moment. And your coping mechanisms isn't the same as mine. So I'm not going to take that away from you and have to like sit you down to try to sit there because you may not be able to focus the same way I focus.
But why do you admire it?
I was talking about your tenacity. I might have went on a little bit of a tangent from there, but it's okay.
Well, it's very sweet. It's funny because that's something that I see as could be potentially negative. So it's interesting how we see each other through each other's eyes. But something I've learned, I don't learn from you, but have done more of with you is play video games, which you know. You're a big game guy. I didn't think I was a big gamer, but now I'm addicted to Mario Party Jamboree. I actually read in the Journal of Leisure Research, I remember that. I think it said 76% of couples who play video games together where they're on the same team actually have a better relationship in terms of communication. And I really looked for that stat because I wanted research to prove that it's okay that we play so many video games together. But I really do feel like whenever we play, it sounds silly because it's a video game, but we're acting as a team, we're helping each other, we're communicating. So I don't know. I just thought that was
No,
cool
well,
fact.
I think it's important. I mean, to do that kind of stuff. And sometimes when I play my sports video games, you're not into those. So I'm just playing by myself. It's not as fulfilling as like playing together and kind of working together. I think it's also a way to kind of build your relationship and things like that when you're talking through and working as a team. When we do those things together, it's just more of, it's almost like a date night. You're actually doing stuff together versus kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah. And now if anyone wants to challenge us to playing Mario Party, we will beat them. And we're both very competitive. So that's a win in both of our books. So we had to take a little brief intermission because Charlie, our little doggy, he decided he was going to join us. It's almost time for DINNER. So you might hear some doggies, but we can get to our fun little game and then feed the dogs because they're not going to let us get anything accomplished. So I have, it's called the couples game. He's playing with a plastic bag. Lay down, buddy. The actual name of the game is irrelevant, but this is what I wanted us to play when we were doing the Where Are They Now filming. Yeah. So I thought it'd be fun if we just picked some cards and answered as we went so people can get to know a little bit about us. I just pulled some random cards out of the box. You go first.
All right. What was the moment when you knew I was the one? Probably when you saw me at the end of the altar because you had no choice.
No, that's not when I knew you were the one.
I know.
Wait, am I answering or are you answering?
You, because it says, what was the moment when you knew I was the one?
That's a tough one because I always thought you were the one from like the beginning because you were my husband already. But when we said I love you, I was like, all right, this is really it. Like, we're going to do this for the long haul. So yeah, probably like a month into our relationship / marriage.
Yeah. Okay. Your turn.
Okay. Let's see. It's a good one. If someone made a clone of me, how would you know that it's the real me?
Well, first thing would be, especially every weekend, am I waking up to you singing Wicked or any other show tunes? Because
you love it.
If no one's doing that, if the clone of you is not doing that, it's clearly not the real you. And you have to do a whole song and dance number, whether it be Mamma Mia, whether it be Wicked, any of those
you
things.
Liked Mamma Mia. Don't
it's
you dare.
going to. That's something only you would do, and not a clone of you.
That's true, but admit it. And if it,
no, I do love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't act like you don't love the show tunes and the songs and dances because I'm quite entertaining.
We literally make up words to these songs for our dogs and stuff. So
yeah, that's
things
normal.
that are going.
Gina does it too.
So that's probably the big thing.
It's a good one.
Definitely like the show tunes or the plays, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, the musicals.
All right, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hit me.
What's the weirdest way we show our love? There's lots of weird ways.
There's lots of weird ways, but the first and main thing that comes to mind is nom noms. And a lot of people do this, but I just like nom 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 on your cheeks because they're so cute. I know you don't like it, but that's my way of showing I love you.
No, it's just playful. This is what we do. It's not that I don't like it. It's just not. It's something that takes time to get used to, but it is kind of silly, and
You shaved
we
your
have fun with
beard, so I couldn't nom on it anymore.
it. It gets long. It gets scratchy. I have to.
I'm just joking with you, honey. Let's see. Who is funnier?
Um, Kind of a toss up. I mean, I'm pretty damn funny, but you're really funny too, and just the way that you interact and take care of the dogs and do your jumpsy cuddles and everything
Jumpsy
else.
cuddle.
Like literally, it's like the joy of a little kid, the little joy that like a little kid has when they have a toy or something like that. That's what it is when you do your jumpsy
Silly.
cuddles. And for those who don't know what jumpsy cuddles are, we have like a human dog bed, and so if Coda or Charlie or someone's laying in that bed, she'll come over and do a little jump and kind of plop down on and lay right next to the dog and call it a jumpsy cuddle,
Jumpsy cuddle.
and then do little giggles like a little kid. So
That was actually a very good answer because if you didn't say that I was equally as funny, we would get into a fight.
that could also go for the clone one too, because if the clone's not doing jumpsy cuddles, it's not you.
It's not me, for sure. That's a good one.
Which one of us could live longest without a cell phone?
Me,
You. Yeah,
100%. I don't even know where my cell phone is half the time.
that's definitely you. I mean, my life, work, everything's through it. But I admit I could do better, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to set certain moments, certain time to be like, no cell phone, cell phone's down.
Well, the time we did try to do a phone-free movie night, our neighbor needed to go to the hospital and kept
Sure.
calling me. She was fine, everyone. So all is okay. But I was like, "Ugh, of course, we don't have our phones. But I never know where my phone is. So we'll do a few more. What show could we watch on repeat forever?
There's a lot though.
I would say New Girl.
Yeah, New Girl's definitely up there. I think we've probably watched every season of New Girl at least 30 times at this point. But I would say that's up there. And then some of those Marvel series and stuff like that. But New Girl's probably by far number one, just because of the silly and Schmidt and all them. It's just hilarious. So
You know I love
I
Schmidt.
never get old of it. We have our favorite episodes that we definitely have watched probably 65 times. So yeah.
Season 2, episode 23.
I would
Virgins.
also say anything Gordon Ramsay does.
Anything Gordon Ramsay. I would literally watch him watch TV. He's the best.
I mean, we even bought his Hexclad pans because of his show and stuff like that. And
They're
let me
awesome.
tell you, they are amazing. We love them.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
We were influenced, but it was worth it. You know what? I'll pull another one because it's my game. Well, this is too easy. Okay, guys, these are just random ones and they're all just like so easy. Like, who's the weirder one? Me. What's the best trip we've ever taken?
Hawaii.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really have to think about it. Like Hawaii was amazing. I just wish we could have been there longer because it took us so long just to get there. But even how that trip started off, we found $20 in the airport. Then when we landed in Vegas, turned that into 100. Didn't last very long in Hawaii because everything's expensive. But it was just kind of a really cool trip to get away. And we both really needed that trip at the time. Tulum would probably be second on that list, but Hawaii, I think, is by far the first one.
And Hawaii is the trip that you surprised me with for our 2-year wedding anniversary. So you've set that bar. It's now 2.5 years. So you have 6 months.
Oh, 3 years is just ice cream date. That's it.
I mean, I do love ice cream, especially at the end of July, but maybe ice cream in Aruba, Italy, gelato.
Pigeon Forge.
I'll take it.
Doing one more? Or are we done?
Yeah. Let's do one more.
In one word, what was your first impression of me? That could be a good one.
Tall.
This is sight unseen. When we walk down the aisle, what was your first impression? I mean, I know you couldn't see because your eyelashes, but
Well, I know it's asking for one word, but I will give just a description of how I felt walking down the aisle, and I would love to hear yours. So honestly, I didn't look at you until I got really close to you because I didn't want to half see you and make a judgment. So when I was walking down the aisle, I looked at your family and I was like, okay, they look nice. They're smiling. They seem happy with me. And then I looked over at my side and I saw Misa and Lauren specifically. They were giving me like big smiles and head nods. I was like, okay, good.
yeah, I got the approvals from your friends right away.
Of course, obviously. And then I got up to you and I was like, he's tall, but very cute. And then I noticed you were swaying a lot. I was like, okay, good.
Oh, I was nervous. I just didn't want to pass out.
Well, yeah, but
Charlie, dude.
sorry, guys. Charlie is just a whiny baby today. But I was like, oh, he's tall and he's shaking, which means he's nervous or unhappy with what he sees. But I wasn't letting that get in my head.
For me, really, it's 2 words: short and beautiful. Kind of corny, I know, but it was. I thought, despite you not liking your makeup and everything else, which was very well
They
documented.
did dirty. They did me dirty.
I thought you were very beautiful,
Thank you,
and
honey.
you are very short. So, but it works.
Oh, that's very sweet. I had so much padding in my bra to make my dress fit because it obviously did not fit right. So, did you notice that my boobs were 18 sizes too big?
No, I mean honestly, I was just trying to focus on not passing out in
Okay,
that moment because I
that's
was
fair.
very nervous.
That's fair. I kept saying I wanted Bridgerton boobs. You don't know what that means, but they were
I have
corsets.
not seen it, but
You should.
I know it's the olden days.
I'm gonna see if there's any in here that I like because I want to pick one more.
A lot of dogs whining in the back.
Oh my god, I actually have two, and then we can wrap it up. So the first one, and this is a story I haven't told on the podcast. It's what's the worst meal we've ever made together. And Chris and I follow this Instagram influencer. I can't think of his Instagram name, but his name is Jordan Hewlett. And he posted this recipe, and it was you put cheesecake, you wrap it in churro dough, and you deep fry it. So we were like, oh, this sounds easy and great. So we get the cheesecake, we make the churro dough. We don't have a deep fryer, so we just put a little pan with oil,
Yeah.
and it went horribly wrong. We didn't test the temperature of the oil.
It's not that. You just need to use like a metal strainer, which we didn't have, so we used a plastic spatula. Then we went to metal tongs, which worked better, but then it was falling apart. So it was really just a huge disaster and learning experience. But overall, I mean, it actually did turn out really good. It tasted really well, but we probably ate some melted plastic.
Yeah, I was gonna say yours was good because yours was the second one, but mine had melted spatula on it. And didn't the house like almost go on fire?
No, it was just very smoky
And it smelled like oil in this house for days.
and melted plastic.
And melted plastic. So
It was just very smoky, but
yeah, would
we
not
didn't-
recommend unless
we
you
got
have
the proper stuff to try it again. But yeah, you need the right pan, you need the right tools for the job, and we didn't.
But I also say that your first few years as a homeowner, you learn all these things. I guess that is a lesson that you could learn living anywhere. But now we know, have the windows open, use a deep fryer, use metal. Like we learned a lot of things in one day. So that's a win. And then I love ending on this. We can both answer. What are you most looking forward to about growing old together?
Honestly, just the life experiences that we're going to have, because we have so many ahead of us that we haven't even thought of besides the things that we do have planned or we're looking forward to. So it's just kind of like the unknown of those things that are going to happen over the years, because we have a lot of life left. Besides us joking that we're old and stuff, we have a lot of life left and a lot of experiences ahead of us. There's a lot of trips that I know we want to plan, and I'm looking forward to those, as well as potentially growing our family and stuff like that. So it's exciting to see where that's going to go and see what's going to happen with that. And no more dogs at the moment, though. Too many
3 is your max.
right now. Yeah,
3 is
we're
the
good.
max.
And our oldest is turning 11 in February. So,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm most looking forward. It's just that kind of the great unknown. Like we know that we have these trips that we want to do. We don't know
that.
when they're going to happen, but we will plan them. So
That's sweet. Yeah, I think my favorite or the thing I'm looking forward to the most about growing older is just knowing that I'll always have a partner for anything we do together. So,
change your diaper.
well, yeah, to change my diaper, obviously, but well, you're going to be
I'm gonna be
in
old,
diapers before me. So I'm looking forward to that. No, seriously, I spent so much of my life not having a stable relationship and not knowing what my future would hold. And I know that wherever it takes us, whatever happens, we're going to have each other. And I just am looking forward to spending the rest of my life with that stability and having a partner to do things with. So you can't leave me yet because I need you.
And Coda.
We're trying to have a beautiful moment. And now the old man wants his DIN and ER. So
He's very food motivated, so he'll just whine and whine until
I mean,
it's done.
aren't we all? But thank you, Chris, for joining. I always want to say joining us. Like I'm the only one in the room, but I just think it's nice that we can sit and have these talks recorded because we have our early months together on TV and we never take pictures. So it's nice to.
No, I
have
mean,
this.
but it's also been good. I mean, when we ended up on Netflix, which is really weird still, by the way, everybody has been very nice and been saying some sweet and wonderful things. And it's been easier for us because I know when we went through the original experience and it started to air, there was a lot of not so nice comments
Yeah.
out there. But now that people are binging it on Netflix and stuff, there's a big outpouring of love and people who really appreciate our story, because I feel like If our story was shown in the true way, it would have been even more of a beautiful, awesome story. But everyone's still seeing it for a great, amazing love story as it is, which is great. I know us, we've had our moments with that, but we know how everything happened. And it's always good to kind of go back and talk about how we appreciate each other, as well as how we just appreciate the experience that brought us together.
And before I let you go, what do you think of this podcast? Like, again, not fishing for compliments, but Gina and Kirsten aren't here. So what do you think?
No, I think my wife and the girls are doing a great job with the podcast. I do enjoy listening to it for sure. I'm always giving her feedback on things maybe they can do differently or guests and stuff like that that they can try to use. So it's nice because I know how much you care and love about it, and I know how much you put into it. So it's definitely paying off. I think all the hard
Thank you.
work. And I'm excited just to see where it goes. I mean, the sky's the limit, so we'll see where it goes from here. But also at the end of the day, I know you guys are happy if it's just kind of your thing that you guys have turned into something great.
It's really sweet. Thank you, honey. The dogs are finally quiet. No, well, thank you everyone for listening to a special episode of D-List Diaries, a special anniversary episode. And if you like what you hear, comment, like, subscribe, reach out on Instagram, and tune in next week. We have a very special guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but it's not Chris, even though he's very special.
I will pop in from time to time though, so you people will always hear from me at some point.
I got him his own mic, so you have to show up now. We've invested. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.